Yes, hello and hello, all blessings and greetings to the global community of Theations. It's Otium Ondo here once again. I'm so happy to be live with you today because over time I've been trying to come live, but network has not been allowing me. And today I just say let me give it a try. And I see network being stable, and I must say I'm happy to be live with you. It's been a while. I hope you're fine and well. And I welcome you all to today's topic. TACC is always going up. A reminder, this is one of the best times to be alive and also one of the worst times to be alive, depending on the kind of information that you avail yourself to, not just avail yourself to. It depends on the kind of information that you avail yourself to, and you also take action and you also act based on the information that you avail yourself to. Okay. And before I start today's topic is titled Revolution Begins in the Mind. The revolution begins in the mind. Okay. And before I start, I just want to read a tweet and you have to pay attention. Okay. It says, and I'm so grateful because Mr. Dwight Bloodman actually recently did a training on Wakanda. And this very man here is also talking about Wakanda. And I'm going to read that tweet. It says, the story of Wakanda is not that they had vibranium. Vibranium is a natural resources in the natural resource, just like we have platinum, gold, uranium in Africa and Congo. So, but in the movie Wakanda, they had what is called vibranium. So the story Wakanda is not that they had vibranium; it is that they learned how to process it. That they know how to process it and extract value from it before the world found out about it. If the world discovered it before they figured how to mine it, you wouldn't have Wakanda. You will have Congo. And today, Congo has always been at war. Okay, Congo has always been at war. And it goes further, it says, the strength of Wakanda is not their T'Challas and their Mbakus. Is their Shuris. Their T'Challas are their warriors, okay? And their Mbakus are also kind of their warriors. But it says the strength of the Wakanda is their Shuris. That is people who are knowledgeable on how things work. The failure of the last 1,000 years in Africa is that we had many Mbaku and no Shuris. Example of Mbaku are people who fight to protect Africa from external control. Okay, we have the likes of Shaka Zulu, King Jaja of Obobo. Okay, so it went further and said, if it has to take white men to come and show us value for what we have, then Africa will be valuable. That is the land, our geographical landmass now will be valuable, and Africans, the people, we won't be valuable. It goes further and says, let's leave the past behind. Our Mbakus, Shaka the Zulu, Jaja for Pobo, etc. failed. We need to move on. Let us focus on raising Shuris for the next 100 years. So that before Oyibo is the white man, finds out natural resources in Africa, our Shuris, that is our people, those who are knowledgeable on how things work, we have 10 different products. We made 10 different products from that natural resources that is discovered. And coming up, I usually think that as Black people, our affirmative action is actually going out there to protest, and that is why you hardly see, I have ever since I become conscious, because even while growing up deep within me, I know something was wrong. I don't miss protests, be it a government protest, be it a school protest. I've never missed any protest in my life as far as it is happening in my school or in my country. But along the line, I begin to realize that the revolution that we seek is not in changing the person in power. Okay, and this I'll give us a simple example, because Africans, we are known for our affirmative action on on going and changing somebody in power, thinking that's a problem. But let me give you a simple example. Let's say you are traveling in a car, okay, with a group of people, and you're driving, and the driver is driving you guys, you're heading towards somewhere, and the car started having issues. Will you will you throw away the driver and say it's because of the driver that the car is because of the driver that the car is not moving? Or will you throw the car away and say the car is no longer functional? Or will you just say, okay, this car has issues, let us see what is wrong with it, and then you open the bonnet and then you check what the problem of that car is? So in the same vein, we Africans, changing our head of state, election is around the corner in Nigeria, and a lot of excitement is going on because we have now woken up to become really, really participant in Nigerian politics. And I see the optimism, and it is good. But to be honest, if Peter Obi when Peter Obi becomes a president, even if we don't have our mindset right, the problem will still persist. And I've come to understand that it is not by going out there to protest, right? It is not by going out there to change a government by saying you must change the driver. We must change our minds. The revolution begins in the mind. The revolution begins in our mind. And how can we as Tiashans, how can we as a people actually start to put this revolution into play? We must have a change of mindset. First, we must learn to love one another, because what has been done to the African is that the Africans have no love for each other. And that is why we have a crab mentality. And what is a crab mentality? A crab mentality is where if you place one crab in a bucket, and the crab will find its way out. But if you find like 6 crabs and put them in the same bucket, by the time this one is coming out, the other one will hold its legs and they will draw it back. So at the end of the day, none of the crabs will end up making it out of the bucket. All of the crabs will die. This is what have been done to us as a people, and it is deliberate. They have made us hate ourselves, and that is why you see even our people are not even in love with their skin. You see, I mean, I know so many people who were black, but now they are completely turned to white people because they don't want to associate with black people. They don't want to associate with color, their own color. This is self-hate. We must love ourselves. We must love ourselves. We must do away with greed, selfishness, ignorance. And not just love ourselves, we must have the knowledge on how things work. And I want to encourage the entire community of Tiashans, take out time, study. So many of you are in TACC but don't know how to navigate TACC exchange. That should not issue. If you are in TACC and you don't know how to navigate TACC exchange, then you should be, it's laughable. You should know how to operate TACC exchange by yourself. You should know how to buy TACC by yourself. And the reason why we're emphasizing this is because as you get to know all these things, you will teach others. Because you can't accumulate riches for yourself and then not teach that to those who are coming behind you. We must know how this thing works and then teach them to our children. This is how these guys were able to control us. They've been passing knowledge from generation to generation to their offspring, to their offspring, to their offspring. And that is why people who have been wealthy in the last 1,000 years are still the ones who are wealthy, because they understand how things work. They've been passing that from generation to generation, from generation to generation. So we must have knowledge of how cryptocurrency work, or how the monetary monetary policy and monetary aspect of our country works. I want to create the intelligence of what theations. We must study our government, how our government functions. We must study how the money function, because the money is actually the head of the snake. We must study how our educational system function, because, to be honest, a lot of us think what we have been taught in school is truth. And when you begin to make your own personal research, you begin to understand that you have been lied to for the most part. Seriously, we've all been lied to. Most of what they've taught us are lies. And new studies are beginning to counter what we've been taught in the last 10 years. I mean, today I was just reading from a well-respectable health scientist. It was contrary to popular opinion that the heart pumps blood. It is actually not the heart that pumps blood, it is the lungs. It is the lungs that pump blood. The heart is like a valve. It helps in transmitting blood to the various parts of the body. So I mean, the entire thing is beginning. Most of the things that they taught us are beginning to come out upside down now. When I was coming up, I was taught that beans is protein. Recently, new studies are beginning to come out that beans is carbohydrates. So we must study. Even the script says, study and show thyself approved. The revolution must be that we understand how technology works. This is the age of acquirers, the age where technology will be very, very much become part of our lives. And if we don't become part of, if we don't become part of technology, it's going to crush us. A lot of people, Nigeria would not have been suffering now if we have moved to the digital era sooner. Because if you go, most of the markets that are actually selling their product now are markets that have POS, that have electronic medium of exchange, medium of transmitting money. People who are selling meat don't have POS because they don't even understand the technology. Some of them don't even have banks account. So there's suffering in the land. Nigeria is in the. I mean, recently somebody was saying Nigeria is on the 12th on the table of countries that can be declared a failed state. So the thing is, nobody is coming to save us. We must change our mindset. I gave us a story of the Jewish, and guess what these guys do? The white man fight within themselves. The Germans fight the Britain, as you see now. The Russians are fighting Ukraine. Americans fight themselves. They fight each other too. But when it comes to matters that has to do with control, that has to do with us, people that don't look like them, despite their differences, they unite. They unite. So I'm telling us Africans, despite our differences, we must put our differences aside and work for the benefit of our people. Do not look to the right, do not look to the left, do not look to the right. Focus, study, and show thyself approved. The revolution begins in the mind. It is in the mind. And now, right now, our mind is captured as Black people. Our mind is under mental house arrest. And it will scare you that these people don't really care about you. When Michael Jackson sang the song that all I want to say is that they don't really care about us, trust me, he was saying the government don't care about you. Nobody that you ever thought before cared about you really do care about you. They don't care about you. Michael Jackson was trying to send us a message. These people don't care about you. Do you know the name they call you? They call you sheeps. They say sheeps, you can't stand up for yourselves. And in the last training, I was saying we Black people, per capita, we are the poorest people on the planet. Yet we have the most wealthiest continent. And then you ask the question, why is it like that? It is because we must do away with the mentality of thinking we have to grow, the battle is out there. We must do away with the mindset of fighting an external battle. The battle is within. Yes, the battle is within and the battle is also without. It is outside. The battle is also outside and also inside. But first of all, you have to take care of this place first. Otherwise, you'll be fighting the wrong enemy, just like we are seeing in TACC now, where people are trying to fight the wrong battle, but they can't because we are more aware and we know their games. So I'm not going to take much of our time today. I just wanted to test the network, and I guess the network is strong. So so truly, we must study the system. We must understand cryptocurrency. This is the future. Nobody should deceive you. This is where the world is going. You are in the wrong. You are in the right place at the right time. Do not make any mistake that you end up regretting. And we must do away with anything that seeks to divide us. Above all, we must understand how the system works, and we must understand what we are into. And that is why I said we must be in touch with our brain, with our mind, and with our heart. With our heart, we must love what we are doing, and with our brain, we must understand what we are into. Thank you very much. I will see you some other time. As I know that this network is stable now, I will start coming on here and we'll be sharing some thoughts. See you some other time. That continues to go up here. Peace.